When the Kyoto Protocol came into place, it obliged governments to incentivize companies reducing their carbon emissions. The idea was simple: dangle the carrot and the whole world will invest in renewable energy. However, in the 2019 budget review, the South African government said, hang on a bit, this is not working quite as well as we thought it would, so it's been changed.
There are a lot of loopholes that have been discovered since the introduction of the Carbon Tax Act, and we're going to see many more of these actually coming up as we go along. What was happening in this instance is heavy emitters were claiming double benefits from government, or able to claim double benefits from government, without reducing their emissions at any stage. The government realised they have to keep amending these things.
In 2013, the SA government introduced a raft of tax incentives to encourage investments in reducing energy usage, which to date has brought about cash flows of around 3 billion rand into sectors such as mining. The savings regime initially was to run until 2021, but has now been moved out 2 years via another amendment until 1 January 2023.
The window period granted in the second part of this amendment is to continue the incentive that was originally granted to big corporations to make the transition into the low carbon emission standards. They haven't been, in government's opinion, they haven't been granted in a long enough period, and not enough funding has gone towards them to actually make the change. What this amendment proposes is that more tax incentives are offered for a longer period to large emitters and certain households. Well, what the first one does is it repeals the ability for certain emitters to actually claim twice. So it closes that one loophole immediately, where they were granted an incentive to fund emissions programs. Number one, to reduce emissions, and number two, to promote energy efficient programs as well. What was happening there is that they would take the money from government, run these programs, and then on their tax returns claim the same money back for the same incentives. This would actually hurt taxpayers in general, because money is being siphoned out and funding large corporations and killing small businesses instead. A good example is the energy efficient light bulb program that Eskom rolled out a couple of years ago. That was funded through these incentives, funded by government. Eskom went around changing all light bulbs and reducing their output, and it didn't cost them anything. It was funded by taxpayers. Then Eskom actually claimed back the losses that they made from reduced output through raising tariffs and through other incentives from government. So it was a double win for Eskom, and the public or the other people are the ones who suffer at the end of the day. Increased energy costs are number one, especially if it's involving independent power producers who get incentivized to build energy efficient and renewable energy projects. The registration fees for those projects are quite astronomical. So this incentive actually was intended to overcome the high registration cost, to encourage these guys to actually start forming independent power producers. What happened at the end of the day is they would take that money, launch their projects, and then still claim back additional money from government. That has pushed the price of renewable energy and independent powers through the roof. And then Eskom has to absorb that cost and then pass that on to consumers. Not only through increased electricity tariffs, but through increased taxes from other pools as well.
Right now, you're probably thinking that it's just corporates, SMMEs, and SOEs who need to be thinking about emissions taxes. Well, think again.
So what this legislation actually does, and it masks it quite cleverly, is the fact that government doesn't know what the final outlook of carbon tax is actually going to look like. We don't know what's going on, which is why we're seeing so many amendment bills. Individuals are going to be facing paying carbon tax in one form or another. And these bills pave the way for that, to allow the minister to actually intervene and set the limits and set goals and tax adjusted to right down to individual level as well as corporate level.
Be active in shaping your country by subscribing to our campaigns on www.dearsouthafrica.co.za, and also follow our various conversations and have your say on our social media platforms. The details on your screen right now.